welcome back to episode 14 of Trash Talkin.
I'm Reg.
I'm E, and I have a little bit less of a voice, but we are going to try anyways. NBA Finals are tonight. By the time this comes out, Game 1 will be over. Game 2 will also be going on during that day, so some of our takes may be a little late by then, but we're going to talk about some football. Obviously, we have some contract news. We got the NBA Finals, a little bit of NHL maybe. And I know the MLB is starting to ramp up. I know we just had a interesting
situation. The White Sox should win a game by then.
Hey, we play the White Sox tonight. We play, so maybe we'll get 3 or 4. We need a sweep. Baseball has been a lot more interesting off of the diamond lately than on the diamond. I know you've been thinking about it.
Well, I don't understand Tucapita. I mean, did he not learn anything from Shohei? This guy's got an interpreter. He had it all set up. He didn't even need an excuse. He's got his own interpreter, and yet he takes the fall. He should have learned from Shohei.
Well, I don't know. I see his batting average. I see his percentage of bets won, and he doesn't seem like the smartest guy. So
he wrote sitting back with a cocktail smiling.
I mean, with his percentage, he must have been betting on this Pirate team to win. That's not a good bet. Anytime you get the Pirate, anytime you
bet on himself
to win,
he's been
4%. He's 4% winning. That's pretty good.
He's been prop bets on his over for hits every night, and he's losing every single
people that win the lottery more than that.
It's all right. I'm sure he'll make it work. So we're going to start off talking. There's huge contract news. I was shocked. Not really shocked because we knew it was going to be a crazy number for a long time. Just didn't know if it was going to get done. Our last episode, we talked about it too a little bit. So we're going to talk about the Justin Jefferson contract, which royally screws over any other team that wants to pay a receiver, specifically the Bengals and the Cowboys. What were your thoughts on the Jefferson contract?
Well, I just think that every contract signed is going to screw every team from here on in. And, the dummies like ESPN, Fox, everybody, the owners are laughing. They're the ones who are paying these salaries. The dummies that go to the games and spend $300-$400 on a seat, they're the ones they're paying these contracts.
The same thing in music.
The owners do not do nothing. They're not paying. They're sitting back laughing. Oh, Fox is going to give me $10 billion to show our game. We're going to play in Timbuktu next year. They're going to give us this much money. So it has to end. And I think when my generation's gone, that people like yourself are going to be rare breeds watching sports. I can see most people on their phones or everything else. I can see a lot less people watching sports and going to sports like yourself. And it has to blow up. Now, 35 a year. Come on, 140, 110 guaranteed. So 35 a year, just look at it logically. Okay, that's over $2 million a game. So a great receiver, if you get 8 catches a game, 17 weeks, that's 136 catches. That's a great year for a receiver.
Yeah.
So you're telling me he gets 8 catches a game. That's $250,000 a catch.
Wow.
In one life.
I want to catch one.
Yeah.
One.
Come on. In what life are these owners thinking that I have a guy, I'm going to give him $250,000 every slant he gets or every.
Yeah.
When does it come to an end?
Yeah.
It won't.
I never thought of it that way.
It'll never end. And I love sports, and I always think these guys should get paid because you know what? Their careers could be gone at any time. But enough is enough with the contract. I mean, come on, $35 million for a wide receiver. Who would have ever thought that 5-10 years ago? Great receiver, yes. But now guys like Nico Collins got $24 million a year, 3 years, $72 million. Come on, the guy had one good year. Now he's going to be on a team with Diggs. He's only going to get half the catches. He's not going to get as many catches. So now you're paying him all this money to do less.
So how does it affect my Cowboys?
It has to affect the guys like CeeDee Lamb. Now nobody will show up to training camp and. It's always the next guy's going to get more money. The next guy
never gets. I can't see CD getting more.
Oh, I
see Chase getting
receivers more. Are the biggest babies going. They always have been, and those guys stick together. It has to come to an end. He didn't want to pay Kirk Cousins any money, so I was got JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold throwing the ball. So he's not going to get 8 catches a game. He's going to start crying. He gets hurt at least one game a year. He misses. He has hamstring issues and a lot of issues. He plays hard. He takes hits. So to me, come on, $35 million for a receiver, over $2 million. Enough's enough. Like I don't know how you can pay every position. Yeah, eventually you're gonna have special teams. I hope these guys end up playing on special teams. Get them hurt. He's paying a guy $35 million. He should be on special teams. Go down there, be a gunner. See how you like it. But, what do you think? I think it's awful.
I don't hate it as much as you do because I didn't hate that they let Kirk go because after an Achilles and he's older. I wouldn't have paid him $40 million a year. But since you let Kirk go, I have no problem paying an egregious amount. Because if you look at every stat, and I know it's context you have to add to it, but Justin Jefferson in every stat is on pace to be the greatest receiver ever if he stays healthy.
But the way they throw the ball so much now,
Yeah,
in 5 years, they're going to play 20 games in 5 years.
Yeah,
the guy's going to get 200 catches
it's
for 8,000 yards.
It's definitely skewed, but he's for yards per game, he's number one all time. Like he is dynamic, and because you have a rookie quarterback, I think it means even more to give him Jefferson. Now he has Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. So McCarthy, you've given him every possible way to succeed. Now the defense, maybe not, but they have a lot to pay. They'll have Addison to pay in 4 years. They'll have Derek Shaw's coming up tackle, and that's a huge position you have to pay. Luckily, they got Aaron Jones kind of cheap at Hawkinson. Like it's going to be McCarthy. I don't know if he ends up being what he's supposed to be, but
he has the weapons. He has the weapons.
It was the only place he could have went.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse. That's the only place he could have went that was able to get him. Like the Niners, obviously, he would have been great with. But one team that was able to get him, that needed to get him, was the Vikings. But they needed to get Jefferson. Now this screws over the Cowboys and the Bengals. It doesn't screw the Cowboys as much as I thought it was. I genuinely thought Jefferson was going to get $38 million a year. That was a lot of the report that it was going to be closer to 40 than 35. So Jalen Waddle just got 30, and Jefferson got 35. CeeDee Lamb's going to want
way too much money for Waddle.
Yeah,
way too much.
So that screwed the Cowboys.
He's a second receiver.
Yeah, but he's really good. But
I know, but
he's only a second.
Yeah, and then you got a quarterback that probably wants it.
But he's only. There he's not. I don't even think he's going to get paid by them. But he is only a second receiver because of where he is. He'd be number one on a lot of teams, but Jalen Waddle getting 30 means CD is going to want more than Waddle. That screws the Cowboys over more than anything. The Waddle got 30 so CD got 33. Chase is the one who's going to ask for more than Jefferson. I think he's not better than Jefferson, but he'll have a case that he, when healthy, has had bigger. He's had probably the best game out of, if you want to count CD, Jefferson, Chase. He's probably had the best single game performances out of all three of them.
Well, he's a great receiver, no doubt.
He'll get more.
I think there should be a rule then. If he's getting $250,000 a catch, if he drops a ball,
take it
$250.
Take $250. Yeah.
I think it's got to be fair both ways. If he drops a ball that's right in his hands, $250 gone the other way.
And it costs your team a game at $500,000.
$500,000.
That'd be a good incentive.
Let's have some incentive for these guys.
The difference between Chase and Jefferson is the Vikings could pay Jefferson whatever they wanted. The Bengals are in hell. The Cowboys are in more than hell. Yeah. Like we're in an impossible. Either Micah, CD, or Dak are gone after.
They're gone. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And when you look into everything, because I've always been Jerry Jones is stupid, but he always somehow figures it out. It is 100% one of those guys will be gone after next year. We're in hell. The Vikings are in a position where they could be.
You're a Cowboy fan. Doesn't that bother you? You go to my shirt. You get behind all these players. You know that they can't keep them.
You can't buy shirts.
I know. You can keep them if your owner's not an idiot.
I got a Russell Wilson shirt. I just changed the R to a Z and put Zach on. I hope he has number 3.
I know he'll be 2, but
I don't know what number he's wearing at training camp. I hope he has 3 on.
I don't really blame GMs too much. I know the cap goes up every year. Like the Cowboys situation, and I know we're kind of segueing into the CeeDee Lamb contract talk, but like the first time around, we could have had Dak for $28 million in 2018, and then it went to 40 somehow. And now he's a $60 million quarterback. Well, you could have done this. I remember being at the gym last year at university thinking, there's no way we can sign Dak back for $50 million. I would die for $50 million because you let it go another year. CD, if you signed him before this season where he looked like probably it was him and Tyreek Hill's best year of football, he's not getting $33 million. He probably get 28.
But that's where Jerry's not the smartest.
He's
guy.
not.
Jerry Jones thinks he's the smartest owner. He's not a businessman. He doesn't know how to do.
Well, he's a businessman when it comes to his other business.
Yeah, but for football wise,
we're talking about Justin Jefferson, and I know CD's not going to get Justin Jefferson money, but Micah Parsons will. Mike Parsons he said this morning, or it might have been last night, I want to be the highest paid non-quarterback ever. So Justin Jefferson's the highest paid non-quarterback ever. So he'll want $36 million.
Oh, I would let him go, Dallas. I would let that. It's an offensive league. I would keep Prescott.
Really? I would let that go.
Defenders, you know what? Now you can't pay them. You're paying everybody on offense.
My thing is with this whole situation is you have a 23-year-old top 5 defensive player, and you have a 24-year-old top 5 offensive weapon, and then you have a 31-year-old really good quarterback, and you have Trey Lance waiting. We have seen, and Nick Wright. I love Nick Wright. I think he's so smart. We have seen rookie contract quarterbacks bring a team to a Super Bowl. Brock Purdy would have done it twice if he didn't get hurt. We have seen really good quarterbacks on pretty good money take a team. We have not seen great quarterbacks on $60 million contracts. I don't think so. As much as I love Dak, I would pay CD and Micah and let Trey Lance play.
You'll probably see Bo Nix do the same thing this year.
Yeah.
You probably will.
Bo Nix will do it.
How would you feel if you're a wide receiver in the CFL and Justin Jefferson's get one catch and that's what you make in 5 years?
5 years.
One catch and you got to play 5 years, 18 games, plus you're playing in the cold and the snow.
Let's look at the road tree.
And you're catching a bigger ball. How fair is that? Come on, I'm a bigger quarterback.
Yeah, but they have bigger end zones. They made it fair. No,
that's terrible.
Well, see, the difference in the CFL is they know how to run 4 routes, and the guys in the NFL know how to run 12.
I'll tell you. If I'm in the States and I have a boy, I'd either have him throwing the football or catching the football.
I would tell him.
I would say, you know what? After grade 2, don't worry about school. Just go to the backyard. I'll throw you.
I'll tell my kid to be a quarterback.
Don't worry about it. I'm not working.
But it does work. What is it? It's 4 years, not that much. Jefferson is going to be a very rich man. He's only 24 right now, so he has a 4-year deal. At 28, he will be done his deal. Yeah. He'll get another deal. And then, you'll get 2-3 year deal. You'll be at 31.
Then he should be a ring chaser. Then he's got some money. He should just be a ring chaser after this contract. I would. Why not?
But it is telling to me how he met with JJ McCarthy, and that day he signed his contract. That might say something about JJ. Might say something about what he saw. Maybe I don't like the Vikings as much as everyone else does, but maybe in a year, maybe that means that there's something there. Kevin O'Connell, I would not want to leave. There are a couple people. If I'm an offensive weapon that I want to play for, it's Kevin O'Connell, it's Ben Johnson for the Lions, LaFleur, McVay, and I missed Shanahan. 5. Those are the only 5 guys I'd really want to play for.
He's in a good system. There's no question about it.
It's really good for him, and that's the only place I can see McCarthy thriving too. So I see the offense being really good next year.
But do you see, again, you're paying him. I don't see them this year or probably next year making the playoffs in that division. And the NFC is so competitive.
Not this year for sure.
The NFC is so competitive.
Yeah.
You got teams that are going to be up there for a while.
But if you give a team like we did it with the Lions, the flaw this year could be fixed next year. So their Vikings' biggest flaw is corners. I think Dallas Turner was a great addition. In a year, you'll see him be a top 10 edge rusher. Once, give him this year to kind of stink a little bit because I think they will. He's a rookie quarterback who's not that talented. He's going to need a year. Now you go get a corner in next year's draft, and now you start looking at them as we looked at the Lions last year. They could start really making – that division is going to be crazy for years to come. Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, and Jared Goff.
I think that's why they felt they had to do this. Yeah. I think they had no choice just because of the way the division was going.
If you let Jefferson walk, you take yourself out of the division for the next 5 years. Because you have the best player in the division. Even if he's just –
what could they have got for him in a trade? What do you think? First?
3 firsts.
3 firsts?
3 firsts. And I think a decent player. There was talks, and I don't know if it was ever just a report, but it was – I don't know if – it would never work for the Bengals, but it would have been – T. Higgins, 3 first-round picks for Justin Jefferson. There was that report.
They wouldn't have got along, him and Chase. There's only so many balls.
They're best friends.
I know, but there's only.
Can you imagine that?
These receivers start crying. You know what? Sometimes they don't even care if they win if they only get 4 catches.
That's
you see them on the sideline. They're pouting.
Yeah, 100%.
You're winning the game, buddy.
Yeah,
but $2 million.
It would have been a great narrative for a season to watch. Burrow.
How do you guard
Jefferson? It's impossible.
You can't guard. It's an offensive league.
It's going to be hard.
That's the thing. And with Parsons, I think he's going to get the money from somebody. But just it's such an offensive league that you got to pay everybody that it's hard to throw 35 million around to a defensive player.
I just also can't, I know we're kind of shifting to and as much as I love Jack, he's my favorite player in the league. I think he's an even better person than a player. I will defend him every day, but I can't give $60 million. I can't pay you over the 2 young best players at their position when every time I see you in the playoffs lately, you're just melting. That was a meltdown. It wasn't on him.
Right.
That game, I've watched it back sadly since, and he played horrible. It wasn't on him, but he melted down completely.
But he got him behind.
Yeah, he melted down.
He got him behind in the game, and
the difference because I've watched I know there's a huge difference. I don't think there's much of a difference from Dak to Lamar and Allen, but when you talk, I remember watching the Texans and Chiefs, and the Texans went up 21-0, and Mahomes just brought him right back. And when we went down 21-0, there was not a thought in my head where it was like, coming back, like not once. And so
he doesn't have the Mahomes
No,
or
he's not
Josh
Mahomes.
Allen in him.
So you can't
Josh
give him
Allen
60.
too. I'm scared about, even if he's behind, he can bring it back.
Yeah, no, Josh can too, but Josh can easily put you down.
He can throw you. He'll do that a couple times a year.
Yeah.
That's doesn't put you in a hole.
So when you talk about 60 million's a lot of money, and I don't think he gets it either. I don't think we give him 60 million. He did say, which kind of ruins his negotiating, is that he would play for free, which is the dumbest thing he could have said, because he's going to take 60 or 55. But that's the topic for another time.
I just want to say good luck to the Minnesota Viking ticket holders. See what the prices are going to be for this year's games.
There'll probably be quite a bit to see that offense.
And since we're talking Cowboys, anything you guys can talk about?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. to one of the best offensive linemen I ever watched in my life. I'm not a Cowboy fan, but Larry Allen, he was a mauler, a brawler, and there was one play against the Saints where he was running just as fast as Emmitt Smith was down the sideline. I'll never forget that play. I'll never forget that play in my life. Watching that and seeing the highlights that Larry Allen, I'm not a Cowboy fan, but he was one of my all-time favorites.
That's 700 pounds. I watched
700.
I watched out the other day.
He's a beast.
Lightning.
It's unbelievable, and he was quick. He ran a 5.2. That's unbelievable for a guy that big. He was 365 pounds.
One of the most athletic guys I've seen for his.
52 years old. Died on vacation in Mexico. So
I had to say,
very, very
Troy
sad.
Aikman and all of them were very upset.
Yeah, very, very sad. Emmitt Smith posted something very nice. He was very emotional. So that is very sad. Let's move it to the WNBA, which, by the way, we probably wouldn't be talking about today without Caitlin Clark. So let's talk about Caitlin Clark. It's just gonna say, probably would never even thought about it.
Trash talk.
Would not know who Kennedy Clark or Cameron Brink or any of these people are without Caitlin Clark. So we'll talk about that. Just so you know where my stance is. There's been a lot of it's very interesting because we've never talked about WNBA ever. And this whole week we've talked about Kennedy Clark, Kennedy Clark. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese all week. It's very interesting. I want to know what you have to think about the controversy lately.
Well, they're turning into the WWE, and I think they love the attention. Okay, but what they're doing to Caitlin Clark, to me, it is awful. I think it's shameful on the players, and I think it's shameful on the league for what is happening. Listen, without her, nobody's watching it. I don't care if Angel Reese got drafted. If Caitlin Clark was still in school, they would not be doing it. I remember years ago, the games would be on 2 o'clock in the afternoon or at noon during the week on a Tuesday, Wednesday, because ESPN were putting it on because nobody was going to watch it anyway, so they put the games on during the week.
And can I say something? Because I've been into this a lot on the internet. This is proof that without Caitlin Clark, who is Kennedy Clark?
Yeah, my bad.
No, but that's a point. You made a good point. You don't even have her name right because she's a nobody, and we would have never even heard of her if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. Sorry,
I remember when there was nothing on TV, and I'd be flipping the channels, and the game just happened to be on one of the channels, and you didn't know if you were watching basketball, if they were building a house. There were so many bricks being thrown. You couldn't watch more than 2 minutes of a game because you're thinking, the ball's supposed to go in the hoop. That's the whole idea of it. I don't know if the players knew back then, but, in honesty, the league needs Caitlin Clark more than Caitlin Clark needs her. She can make millions of dollars now. She doesn't need to play basketball or take the abuse. I think the foul was bad, but I think in basketball, this is a problem I have, and it happens in the NBA all the time and in college. The trash talking a lot leads to tempers flaring, and then people doing stuff like that happened.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is going to happen because, what? Sometimes somebody makes a shot and says, and points to the sky or, you can't stop me. And then they miss the next 10 shots. But I think the trash talking isn't good. But you see in the NBA, they finally got them from standing over top. This trash talking is the only trash talking. But I think more shameful is their teammates because, like, you guys watch more hockey than I do. If somebody does that to one of your teammates, even in football, if somebody does that, especially to one of your stars in any sport, somebody off the bench should come out there. Who cares if they get suspended for a game? They're not going to play anyway.
That's what it usually should be.
What happened when you hit Bobby Clark?
That's usually what it should be, though. Someone should come off the bench and destroy it.
What happens when you hit Miller? Oh, sorry.
The coach should have said, hey, you're not playing the next 6 games. Go out there and, push her. You're going to get suspended. You're not playing anyway. You're only
right. 100%. As coach, I would have done it.
I think the shameful part is on them. And you know what? There's so much division in this, one way or the other, that I just think, I hope it doesn't blow up, but I could see it coming to a boiling part, especially maybe when the playoffs come. Like, she's on a terrible team. She was drafted by a terrible team.
Yeah.
You can't expect her to go in. How many guys in the NBA come out and get drafted? Half of them only play 10, 12, 14 minutes a game. They don't do nothing. They average 4 points a game. Everybody's on to her. Well, she went from college to pro. That's a big jump in any sport. Nobody comes out in the NBA other than Wembyana and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, other than the top 3 picks in the NBA draft, the players are nothing.
Did Connor McDavid make the Edmonton Oilers the Stanley Cup Finals right off the bat?
Exactly.
Next year, 4 years later, 5? No.
Exactly.
It took what? How many years?
Yeah.
They were horrible.
Too little time. But yeah.
It did take a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no problem with the Caitlin Clark criticism, like, at all, because we do it to everybody, and I'm okay with it. Like, we did it right off the bat with LeBron, and we do it with all these first overall picks. It seems very weird that they're targeting her because we've never targeted a first overall pick, like the players have, but the league itself hasn't. Where it's like coaches are laughing when she gets hit, and coaches are saying things. So that's very weird to me because it is like Nick Wright. I always refer to him because I love.
He's great.
I think we think
He's
very
the
much
best
like. I think he's awesome, and he says it's weird that everything in America boils down to division, even basketball.
It's a very divisive.
Like, why are we divided in something we just sit back and we watch at night? Like,
I think the media blows everything out of proportion, and I think there's too many media on ESPN that cause division in sports. You know, when you watch ESPN, and I turned it off because I won't watch some of their talk shows anymore because they make everything division. And there's shows like Around the Horn and stuff like that. I won't watch them anymore because they divide everything, and it's a sport.
Yeah,
we should be entertained. We should be happy. You know, criticize players, blah blah blah. But it's a sport when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and without making this, because it has been made into this like race thing, it would be a great rivalry. Like, it's Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing. Scrap every bit of context from the real world out of it. Basketball only. It is a great. I said as soon as I think when we started talking about it, it's a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson type of thing. You're in college, and it went back and forth in college, and Angel Reese got the better of her in college. Yeah. And now you bring it. It's a great thing, and I'm from a different generation. I love that Angel Reese is like a huge trash talker. I absolutely love it because she's the villain, and she plays the villain role really well because I don't think she's playing the role. I think she is the villain, and Caitlin is this quiet girl. I don't know if she's not quiet, but she trash talks too.
Trash talk,
but she's like, even with all this that's going on, I haven't heard Caitlin complain too much. I haven't heard her say too much. She's handled this very well.
Because, you know, better than I would. If she speaks the truth, they're going to call her a baby. You're going to look like a baby.
More divisive.
And it's even worse. So guess what? They're going to do it even more. So she's smart by saying, it doesn't bother me. You know,
even when she got hit,
you have to say
she just went down and got right back up. When Kennedy Carter hit her. But I had no problem with Kennedy Carter's hit. I think she's a loser for it. I think she herself is a loser.
Well, that's the only hit she had.
Well, like you said earlier, it's a Brad Marchand hit.
That's
what it was. It was dirt.
Colin Coward said this is pretty much Patrick Beverley, which it is. Patrick Beverley, I hate Patrick. I think he's a trash human being. I thought he was a horrible player. He was out there to piss people off. He did it to Russell Westbrook every single game they ever saw for that 5-year span. I'm okay with it.
They used Rodman as an example too.
Yeah, but Rodman was good.
He was actually a good player.
Rodman was good, and Rodman was very important.
But he protected his players.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Rodman was tough, but Rodman, you know, we could definitely say that dynasty doesn't go to what it was.
Without him? No.
I don't think Kennedy Carter's.
He'd get 15 rebounds in the sleep.
He was someone who had no value on the offensive side, but his value on the boards on defense, whereas Kennedy Carter's value is probably just going to be making people mad. And, you know, she's lucky because of that hit. I know everything about her now.
But I have a problem with the coaches in the league because I just think the coaches accept it and they don't go after the players for doing stuff like that. Yeah. I think, like you said at dinner, that they sit back and they laugh. Well, it's a bad look for the league. And you know what? The league doesn't need any bad looks because, honestly, before this year, how many people knew the Indiana basketball team?
I don't know they had one.
No, but how many people knew the WNBA was fever? Because I didn't.
I didn't know one team.
I had no idea.
I knew there was a team in LA. I don't even know their name.
But
I knew they were
but
a
I'm
team.
just saying, like, she has brought all this on. These women are going to benefit from it.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
You know what? I'm not saying just let her shoot, but easy on the cheap shot.
Yeah, there's
the league really should be putting her in a better position to succeed, not fail.
I've watched 2 times for my own teams where people got cheap shot. It was Ryan Miller, and then it was Andy Dalton against the Commanders where they knocked him out cold on the field, and no one did anything. I think that's embarrassing. I remember that was embarrassing. Even if it was a backup quarterback, it was embarrassing to watch. Like, you're checked out that much. And that was how I felt with the Caitlin Clark thing. The girl, I don't know the girl's name.
Boston, wasn't it Boston?
Ooh.
Oh, the girl that was inbound?
Yeah, what is it? Is that her name?
Yeah, but she actually
how she didn't
You don't pick them.
I know she picked up, but how you didn't like.
Did you see how close you are?
Like, it just felt weird.
Your teammate gets dropped, you run to
him. It is like the exact same situation as LeBron in 05. It is jealousy because if you remember, they went around the night that the Cavs won the lottery. And I say, if you remember, like I was not 1 year old, but I've watched the videos. The night the Cavs won the lottery, and they asked all the guys on the team, "How do you think about LeBron? He's 17. He's an 18-year-old kid. He's not better than us." It's the same thing. It's this jealousy.
Yeah,
it's weird.
The thing with LeBron is the NBA didn't like kids coming without going to college.
Yeah.
Like they didn't like you not going to college, just coming to the NBA, right? So they were kind of made it worse.
Yeah.
Jealous. Like, hey,
I don't remember where the NBA was at that point. They've always been
that's what I was saying.
The NBA is not an established league.
If you look at the last in the major sports, and I don't know hockey as well, so I can't, but Paul Skeens, Wembanyama, and Caleb Williams are the last 3 first overall picks. None of them have even nearly as much value to their league as Caitlin Clark does, because who were the 3 picks after the top 2 picks in the NBA draft? I don't know. I know Andrew Reese is one of them.
I couldn't tell you 2 players on her team.
Let's go past Let's go past the 6 number 1 through 6. Now let's go the whole rest. I can tell you the first round draft in the NFL. Caleb does not add any value besides adding to the puzzle. Caitlin Clark is a WNBA. They are banking on her to be an all-time icon in order for this league to build up.
So my team in baseball is playing you. My pitcher hits one of your players.
Yeah.
What is, as a coach, what's in my mind when my players are going up to bat?
Perfect example.
I'd wear a helmet because one of you is going to take one before the end of the game. And that's what happens in baseball. When somebody gets hit, they either go high and tight on the other team just to prove a point, especially if it's a star and you hit them on the wrist and you break the ball. It's going to happen. One of your players is taking one.
Listen, we've been hitting Jose Altuve for 4 years now. Because he screwed over another team. Every other team in the league, because he made a trash move. When they did the trash can thing, they've been hitting Altuve in the shoulder for 5 years. So the retaliation part of sports has always been there. And Caitlin can't do it herself. She cannot get up and go throw
I wouldn't expect her to.
But she can't. It would look horrible. You are now putting yourself into the situation. But it was pretty embarrassing to me how no one did anything.
The owner spoke up, though.
But the owner is on the court. You have to tell people this will never happen again.
That should have started a brawl.
Right.
In my eyes, that should have started a brawl. That should have started a brawl.
With the type of crazy person that Dennis Rodman was, what do you think would have happened if someone did that to Michael Jordan? No one would have ever done it. No one would have ever thought of doing that to Michael Jordan. But if someone did that to Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman wouldn't have let that person walk off the court.
He would have said, give me the 10 game suspension, I'll pay the fine.
Well, her teammate, Boston, was standing there with the ball, almost smiling, and then walked over to her.
Massive issue for me.
Wow.
But
again, that's the division in the world. So
I'm going to look at it from a different perspective. The people at the top of the WNBA, which to show you how little value the WNBA has, I know every other commissioner. I don't know who the commissioner of the WNBA is. So I'm saying the people.
It's a woman. I know that.
I know the people at the top might be looking at this like this is setting up a good story though. Angel Reese getting up and clapping. Like this is going to in a year or two when this comes down and we see them playing in the playoffs or the finals or something.
You don't want it to get it. WWE.
Yeah, I tell you, you two are brilliant and know everything about sports. No.
Stop.
But no. I don't. I'm the type of guy. I started watching, and I literally I click on the Indiana Fever's website to see how they made out. I want to see, but they're turning me off because it's turning out to be like a soap opera. What are you doing?
Well, every sport is. I find every sport to be that way.
To me, I hope they don't ruin the league the way it's going. because, people are starting to watch. People are paying tickets to watch it. The basketball has gotten better, but I think they need to control it now before.
Right, that's my point. Before you lose people too.
The one thing where I'll say don't over rate what's happening right now. It's going to run out. This is just the start of her career. People are jealous. It's new. People want to make their mark. People want to show up the rookie. Give it a couple weeks, and it's going to run. And there's going to be a point. Like the only reason this is highlighted right now is because she's struggling. She's going to do well, and it'll. And
that's another thing. People got to lay off her. It's her first year.
She's going to do well. She's
not going to average 24 points a game. This isn't college. This isn't Iowa.
No, she's going to form into herself. All right, let's move on because I can go for a bit about that. Let's talk about tonight. We've waited what seems like forever for both finals.
They're playing already?
They're playing tonight in Boston.
You thought it started in August.
I thought there was a ceasefire. I thought there was a ceasefire. I thought Hamas asked
Biden put it for
Hamas asked them to wait a few weeks. I thought there was a ceasefire.
It does start tonight. What a lot of people are calling a finals they didn't want. This is in the finals I'm very excited for to watch. It's going to be a really cool series. A lot of good narratives. Mavs, Celtics, game 1 tonight. We're not going to go game for game because we don't have a show every day. But we're going to make some finals predictions. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I just wish the road to Niagara Falls were as paved as good as the road to the finals was for the Boston Celtics. Because you know what? There wouldn't be.
You could put me on the court.
I mean, if you look at the Celtics.
Tim Daddy, you watching?
Are you watching?
Yeah, you watching?
Yeah.
I'm sure
it's not easy. I mean,
it was one of
Jimmy Butler. Miami, no Jimmy Butler.
And they weren't good with him.
Cleveland wasn't a great team anyway. Mitchell missed a couple games. Jared Allen missed probably 3 or 4. And then they got the Pacers who play no defense.
And Halliburton
was hurt too. So really, the Celtics have had it laid out for them. They haven't really had to go all out to win all these games. They're classic for laying an egg one game, especially at home. They could lose by 40 points or they could beat you by 40 points. Yeah. They live and die off the threes. If they're hot, they'll score 130 points off the threes. Yeah. They have the best all-around team.
Yeah, definitely.
To me, Luke is the best player on the court. I'm so happy for Kyrie Irving. I can't believe he just turned it around like that. I mean, Mark Cuban's got to be ecstatic that his team got to the finals. And I can see now them getting to the finals, they're easily can get somebody else to go to that team and say, hey, you guys got a good team. You got a winner. We'd like to come play for you, help you out.
Would LeBron not be a possibility? A little bit of one. Kyrie and him are both expressed.
I could see that, but
both expressed.
They have a team. To me, realistically, if Boston doesn't win this,
it's done.
They got to blow the team up because they owe Tatum $60 million. They already paid the other guys all this money.
Brown, the highest contract in NBA history.
They could play 9 guys, and Porzingis, I don't know if he's back. So they could play 9, 10 guys, and they're not afraid to play them. They have way more depth than Dallas. They could probably run them into the ground. Yeah. The week off helped Luka, but I got to go Celtics in 6. And again, if they don't win this year, their window is closing because they've had the best team for about the last 2 or 3 years, and they were lucky again. Giannis was hurt from Milwaukee. Yeah. Everything fell in their lap this year, and they didn't have to play the Nuggets.
Yeah.
So to me, and good for Dallas. I mean, they beat Minnesota 3 games on the road.
That was huge.
That is huge. And they won close games against Minnesota. I don't think they're afraid of Boston, but I could see Luka Pita. I'll take the Celtics.
Because Luka Pita could have used your take. Hopefully he's still betting. Since that whole.
I want to be part of the 4%.
Since that whole baseball career didn't pan out. Hopefully.
That's one of your 4%.
You got to get it up to 5% to make a living.
Now he's got to bet. Now you have to. You can't stop now. You just kind of got to go for broke at this point. It's costing you your life. So what you mentioned that they've had a cakewalk. They were the first team ever to make the finals without playing a 50-win team on the way to the finals.
Really?
None of the team first in NBA history. Now, on the flip side, the Mavericks, if they beat the Celtics in the finals, will have the 3rd or 4th highest opponent win percentage on the way to
So
they knocked out the Oklahoma City, who I know we all talked about, like they were a 7 seed. They were the 1 seed. The Clippers, without Kawhi, I don't really count it as much. And the Timberwolves took down what a lot of people at least, thought was the I did. We said here, title contender, the favorites in the Nuggets. So this is. I remember watching LeBron in 2018, thinking I'll never ever watch a playoff run like that. I think Luka Doncic is having the greatest playoff run ever by a player. He's in the playoffs. He's first in points, rebounds, assists, field goals made, 3 points made, triple doubles, double doubles. He is doing what LeBron did in 2018 without the defensive stats because he's not 6'8", 250, but 6'9", 250. But I'm really happy for Kyrie. Kyrie is what every music fan wanted Kanye to do and just completely turn it around because I've never seen someone turn it around like Kyrie did. Because a year ago, when they traded for Kyrie, I think me and you talked about it too. You hated it. I hated it. And I said, you can't sign him back. I know you feel like you have to. You gave up, not a lot for him. They gave up a first and one player. But I know you feel like you have to sign. Don't sign him. He's a cancer to every team. And that's what it was. The post-LeBron career for Kyrie is one of the most, until now, was one of the most disappointing career just fall-offs. He wouldn't play in Brooklyn. He was horrible after. He was trying to get the Celtics and trying to get KD to go to Brooklyn, and then he broke up Brooklyn. It was horrible. Yeah. It was really sad to see what he was in Cleveland, and then the same day he said he would love to play with LeBron forever. Later that day, he requested a trade. Everything went down. I'm really happy to see Kyrie has become just like a wholesome factor in the locker room. Him and Luka are best friends.
And not
he's been awesome. And he has not even been that good, which is what I love. Like he hasn't been this 24 points per game guy. He's averaging like 22 in the playoffs. In the last series, he averaged 16. Yeah. But he's been there. And I know Tatum's been there. Brown's been there twice. No, Brown's been there once, but he's been in the Eastern Conference Finals 6 times in a row. Yeah. So, but Kyrie's been there. He's made the biggest shot maybe in NBA Finals history. Yeah. That's going to help. This is Luka's first finals. I'm very interested to see tonight how that goes because like we've talked here many times, the reason I love LeBron and I picked LeBron against the Nuggets this year is because when you have that guy, I believe you can beat anybody. The Celtics are a way better team. If Porzingis is your arguable 4th or 5th best player, that's a really good team. Like you could put Derek White above him at this point. Yeah. So Celtics are a better team. They have the way better starting 5, way better depth, way better bench. I'm going Mavs in 6. I love Luka. I love the backcourt.
I would love to see them win.
I think there's a good chance. And
a 5th seed.
Doncic in the playoffs, he's a top 5 point per game guy. Doncic on the road in the playoffs is a top 5 point per game guy.
Well, they're saying that this is probably their only shot, Dallas, at getting a championship.
Yeah. Like being
basketball, the Stars and the Cowboys.
My favorite was Dak.
Is the only chance.
Dak goes, we want them to make it. Put pressure on us. It's been pressure for 30 years.
I know.
Go win.
But what do you think Luke is going to do?
What do
you think his contract? 60?
It'll break records.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's going to break.
He is like I don't know. We see he's a Mahomes type player where it's like he's probably next.
He makes the shot so effortlessly, and he takes so many different shots.
But he's not even athletic. Like
he's not
going
to blow by it.
No, he does what he does inside.
I just worry about him getting hurt.
But yeah, I don't know if he will. But Rusty also worries about him getting hurt. But I don't know if I think he's on a run that I just sometimes the story fits. Sometimes it's destined. I see it happen.
This is coaching to me. If I'm the Celtics, it's easy. Take the ball out of his hands when he has the ball. Yeah. Double team him. If the other guys beat you, let them beat you. You win. They beat you. I would rather lose to the other player and let Luka go off.
Let PJ Washington go off.
Yeah. If Luka goes off for 50, Luka can get 30 and you can still beat him. But if he gets 50 or in the 40s and he's dropping dimes, the more the ball's in his hands, the better shot they got to win. And I think you could just easily get the ball out of his hands. But this would be a choke job if the Celtics lose.
So you have Celtics in 6?
Yes, but I would like to see them lose. I'd like to be wrong.
I have Mavs in 6. Before we go, I just want.
Did you heard Rusty? Rusty picked.
He has Mavs in 6 too.
He has the Mavs in 6.
He's not my side. So just one little note that I think is before we go that I think is really interesting. This line for the Celtics over the Mavs is the exact same line as Miami Heat and the Thunder in 2012, which was looked at as like this crazy.
Yeah.
That's all the Celtics are, and this is a close series to me. I think it should be closer than it is, but that's the exact same line.
Yeah, I don't think they're prohibitive favorites, but if you look at the players, the lineup, I mean, if you take Kyrie and Luka off Dallas, they win about 20 games a year.
I think Luka's given them like 5 points in itself in that.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm excited to see. I can't wait to watch the game. Finally get to watch basketball again tonight. It's been a long time.
I'm just glad they're back.
It is nice to be back. Stanley Cup final starts Saturday. We're back fully finally.
Canadian team.
Maybe. And then once it's over, we have baseball until preseason starts. So it's going to be.
Don't forget the CFL starts tomorrow night, folks.
I already forgot.
Thursday night CFL starts week 1.
And next week we're going to do our last episode before we take 2 weeks. We're going to do our last episode before we take a summer break because it's hard to talk about baseball every day.
And I will say you guys have done 14 episodes. It took 14 episodes for Rusty.
That's good, Mark. That's right.
He's been a good boy
all that time.
And just think about how many subjects and topics will be ready for us when we come back in late August, September. We were talking about how the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders right out the gate. Dak Prescott's the MVP.
Who tore their Achilles in training camp?
Yeah.
Is Bo Nix a bust? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when we come back. But thank you for listening. Enjoy the NBA Finals tonight. This has been Trash Talking.
I'm Reg.
I'm E. We will see you soon.